Shalom. So yesterday, to pick up where we left off, we talked a little bit about the profound not knowing and unknowability of some of the moment that we find ourselves in, some of the fluid rapidity with which the news turns and returns and unfolds, and the sanctity and the holiness in that moment, in point of fact, the painstaking one of not knowing. The epistemological humility that it begs to be able to hold some degree of equanimity and putting one foot in front of the other and just sort of being baseline okay in not knowing. We woke up this morning and remember stepping outside of my house, and that breath of smoke first hit me. The air is gray, it's kind of smoky. I got in the car, started driving, and I realized, the vents are open because it's piping that in my face. And so I hit the little close vent button to close myself off from some of the smoke. It's a wildfire, 30, 40 miles east of here in New Jersey, from what I understand, in a state park. But I've been chewing on this idea all morning, turning and returning to it, playing with it. We used the metaphor last night of a prism. You turn it and it refracts light differently. You see different colors you might not have noticed before in the light spectrum. You find different truths about it by turning it in different directions. I was reflecting on that smoke this morning because I was thinking about Beha'alotcha and that idea within it that the Israelites are led at night by this pillar of fire and during the day by this pillar of cloud. In my mind's eye, in my imagination, that had to be a pillar of smoke because I imagined it was emanating from that same source and that same fire, that thing that they were following. You could see the light by day, you could see the you could see the light by night, and you could see the column by day. It is an anan in the Hebrew, cloud, but I assumed it was a smoke cloud. And I was thinking about the audacity of the Israelites that they see this thing, and this is a divine sign. That's a good thing. It's a positive thing. That does not feel intuitive to me. It doesn't feel automatic to me. And I was thinking about that against the backdrop of the smoke this morning. I was thinking about it against the backdrop of the smoke that I remember from when I lived in Brentwood working in Pacific Palisades and some of those wildfires. This is before the big one, but when you could get up in the morning from nearby wildfires and the air would have this eerie orange haze to it, and so much was blocked out. There was a menace to it. It did not strike me as godly, as holy or protecting, or bringing a direction forward. It seemed about as threatening comes. I'm thinking about the pictures conjuring up on my cell phone, reading the endless analyses and the turning over again of the events in the wake of the strike, the Israeli strike on the Iranian nuclear facilities. And what do you see of it? Well, you see a lot of smoke. Sometimes you can see the light of a fire here or there. And now here's the thing, is that smoke is not just located in Iran, that Isfahan, or any of these other sites, Natanz, air base at Tabriz. Now that smoke you are seeing in the pictures is in Zichron Yaakov, Rishon LeZion. You're seeing it in Israel as well. And again, it doesn't strike me as reassuring. It doesn't strike me as the kindness of God or a direction forward or that kind of positivity. It strikes me as, well, smoke. These are worlds on fire right now. But I also think about, with this, the element of smoke that conceals what is within. Somebody was mouthing to me as I was talking about those pictures from CNN coming from Isfahan and wherever. You also see fire. Actually, the ones I saw, I didn't see fire. I saw smoke. I assumed there was fire, but I couldn't see the smoke because it was obscured by the detonation of whatever ordnance is. I didn't see the fire, the actual flames of fire of those wildfires that were the closest to me when I lived in LA either. Saw the smoke, but you couldn't see the fire. Couldn't see all that far in front of you, for that matter, because the world was obscured. And that's kind of what smoke does on a certain level, is it obscures. It makes that which may be knowable not. There's a valence of that not knowing within the smoke that perhaps is peaceful, perhaps is anesthetizing in a way. I think about Pink Floyd singing Comfortably Numb. They're a distant ship, smoke on the horizon. Can't even see the thing, it's far away. But that requires a degree of faith as well. A degree of faith that actually that might be okay in the midst of A, the implied violence of the thing, and B, the unknowability of it, that you can't actually see through it. Stare as hard as you want into the smoke, you can't see through it. It renders that which is around it as unknowable. I think about it, the faith of the Israelites in seeing that pillar of cloud, which I assumed at least to be a smoke cloud. I'm sure the Mefarshim disagree and whatever, but I'm taking it that way, in particular because of the fire at night. And I wonder, is that smoke that I'm seeing on CNN for a blessing? Is it the right thing? Is it the just thing? Is it the best move? Is it the wisest strategy? Is it this, that, or the other? And as we talked about last night, I was sharing from a good friend of mine who does classified defense work, working on weapons systems. He and I talking about the possibilities of Israeli airstrikes on Iranian nuclear facilities. And he said back in 2012, man, even with his top secret clearances, he said, I don't know. It's so hard to know. It is one of these things that is so unknowable. You can have a really good strategy, but it's really hard to know. And so sitting with this wondering of those columns of smoke rising, do they be for blessing or do they portend disaster and violence, or frankly something in which those two are not mutually incompatible? Thinking about some of the violence in LA right now, and I haven't seen the news to know what's going on in this morning right now against the backdrop of what may be some more upheaval in the United States, but I'm thinking about burning automated Waymo cars in Los Angeles. Are those columns of smoke for a blessing? And I don't know. I don't know. I have my suspicions, I have my thoughts, I have my convictions. I have ideas about it all, but ultimately I don't know. And that's the smoke. Because you can't see through it. You can't see through it to what's behind it. You can't see through it to the casualties or to the events that may unfold as second and third order consequences of things that happen. So you don't know, and I don't know. What a terrible place to be in the cosmic not knowing. So I'm kind of turning and returning and holding on as a hope maybe some of the smoke of some of the upheavals, maybe it is for a blessing in the long term. I would not be surprised, but I also don't have enough clairvoyance to say, yes, it definitively is or is not. It is a difficult and profoundly uncomfortable moment of not knowing. So against the backdrop of looking at the smoke outside from New Jersey, or looking at the smoke on CNN from the columns that rise into the air, I'm thinking of the smoke of our ancestors, that they were following, hoping against hope, wishing against wish, that they're going to go in the right direction. I'm also thinking about what some of that smoke implies against the Musaf service for Shabbat. In the Reconstructionist world, one doesn't have a Musaf service, actually. It's true, and there are people who actually step out for the Musaf service, even within our own community from a Reconstructionist perspective, because it makes reference to and alludes to and names all of these sacrifices that imply a third temple. And if your Judaism isn't predicated on the idea of, again, perhaps some upheaval, and one day a third temple, maybe Musaf might not be your thing either. I wouldn't blame you for it. But in particular with it, the Musaf, the reason we have it is not just presaging a third temple, but it's actually naming the sacrifices of our ancestors. The reason we have a Musaf service is because of the Musaf offering on Shabbat. That there was another burnt offering to be made on Shabbat. There was something else we were offering up to God. I cannot help but feel that these moments, twin moments of upheaval and smoke that may be obscured, and maybe perhaps the future is a little bit opaque right now, both in the Iranian strikes, the Israeli strikes on the Iranian facilities, and the reprisal strikes and the back and forth, the what Yehuda Amichai referred to as the terrible Chad Gadya machine, as well as the protests and action and deployment of forces within our own country. It was beckoning me to the Musaf service because I suspect in all of these things there probably is sacrifice as well. And if that sacrifice is not happening as we speak, it may be sacrifice to come. I don't like theologically the idea of comparing human beings to some of those offerings that were made to God 2,000 years ago. And the smoke keeps rising. The thing churns. And through the smoke, we can't know the unknowable. We can't know tomorrow and the day after. We have a conviction that may it be the smoke of perhaps something that takes us to a greater place than we are in right now, that may be for a blessing to us. But also, if you remember those Israelites in Bamidbar in the desert, they did an awful lot of wandering. One does not actually need 40 years to walk from Egypt to Israel. It may be a circuitous, messy route along the way. But I guess I'm holding the conviction of my ancestors against the backdrop of the Beha'alotcha right now. May the things that we can't see, the future that we can't discern, and the smoke through the clouds somehow be a portent of blessing, even when the truth is indiscernible in this moment. Shabbat Shalom. We continue.